Hey everybody. So, lost media. It's an idea that, for all intents and purposes, has only begun to spread widely in the last 2 decades or so. It's a 2-part symphony of the mysterious and obscure, a piece of media created at some point in the past that's been destroyed, forgotten, or otherwise lost in the sands of time, and the inevitable search for it that plays out over days, months, even years in some cases. It's a concept that transcends boundaries of format and genre, crossing in and out of literature, music, film, gaming, and far more. It's something that, until relatively recently, was essentially an impossible undertaking, and has only become a feasible task thanks to the rapid interwoven net of communications that we call the internet. And it's something that I find absolutely fascinating. The obscure, the macabre, and the mysterious have always been, and likely always will be, one of my greatest passions, and few things offer a greater practical application of this than lost media. Something I've always found particularly interesting is the fact that, no matter where you look, traces of lost media can be found. Case in point, Minecraft. It's a game I'm certain a large majority of you have played, but what you might not have known is that beneath the game's well-loved exterior, there's quite a bit of mystery to be found. Archive projects like OmniArchive and Betacraft work to rediscover and safely store archaic and previously lost versions of the game, and organized groups like Minecraft at Home work tirelessly to discover the world seeds behind famous pieces of Minecraft history, with methods that blur the lines between fantasy and reality. But strangely, while some individuals hunt down decade-old Minecraft Twitter posts and others derive complex strings from 64x64 images, a small section of Minecraft's history remains unusually unexplored. I'm talking, of course, about Minecraft maps. And I'm not talking about the in-game item. Minecraft's custom maps, worlds, adventure maps, or whatever you want to call them, have a rich and complex history. They've been created by countless players since the dawn of the game itself. They play an integral role in the establishment of the early community, and a large quantity of them, both big and small, are noticeably and inexplicably lost. Wait, what? Over a year ago, I made a video titled A History of Minecraft Maps, and that's basically what it was. I did my best to recount the evolution and spread of the Minecraft map, as well as to trace it back to its origins, whatever those might have been. I finished the video, one of my largest at the time, and uploaded it only to find that it was the only one of its kind on the entire site. Strange, but nothing unusual enough for me to take a deeper look. Satisfied that I documented Minecraft's map history to a reasonable extent, I closed the case on my research, and in the end it never really went anywhere. Until now. You see, I've been thinking, and I've noticed some very unusual events and phenomena that I seem to have completely overlooked during my first time around, culminating in one of the most bizarre and unexplored cases of lost media that I've ever encountered. It's time to reopen the cold case. It's time to take a deep dive into Minecraft's lost worlds. Let's take it way back. You probably heard me mention how I tried to track down the origin of the Minecraft map phenomenon, and you might be wondering if I was actually able to do it. Well, to be fair, I thought I did. But before I could, I had to start searching. Investigations like this, contrary to what you might think, often start with a simple Google search. You'd be surprised what you can find with the right keywords and a few filters. But in this case, no luck. Google, and eventually YouTube, gave me nothing more than clickbait videos or articles and unrelated posts. So I decided to go somewhere a little more specialized. Planet Minecraft has been aggregating and hosting Minecraft community content since November 2010, and it seemed like a much better place to find the oldest map. So I did some digging and eventually came up with these, the first posts on Planet Minecraft of the site creator's custom world. For a little while, I was convinced that this was it. But then I thought a little more critically. By that point, the game had been out for over a year and a half, and you're telling me it took that long for someone to come up with a custom map? Yeah, it didn't exactly make sense, so I was back to the drawing board. Where could someone have posted a map before Planet Minecraft was created? It stumped me for a little while, but then I realized the answer had been staring me in the face. The Minecraft forums. Over a year older than Planet Minecraft, the MCF dates back to the early formative days of Minecraft, and it seemed my last best hope of finding the original Minecraft map. So I headed over to the forums, first searching the maps and modding section, before realizing that even that section didn't reach all the way back to the forum's beginnings. My search eventually led me to the general forum category, to a post from June 30th, 2009 entitled Half Flatgrass, Half Ocean Map. The download link was obviously long dead, but in the absence of further evidence, I was convinced that this was the oldest Minecraft map in existence. It's a pretty heavy title, isn't it? Unable to download the map manually, I tracked down the Reddit account of Puyo Dead, the map's original uploader, and asked, several times, if he still had the map. What I received in return was nothing. Radio silence on Puyo Dead's end meant that I had no way of acquiring the map, and the trail stopped cold. Unable to proceed any further, I finished the video, marking Puyo Dead's map as officially missing, and hit upload. And that was it. Or so I thought. In early September of 2021, over a year since my original video, I somehow found myself back in the dusty archives of the Minecraft forums. I don't exactly remember what brought me back there, but out of curiosity I tried to rediscover Puyo Dead's original post to see if I'd missed anything. But what I found was something a little more. Scrolling through posts dating from the literal day of MCF's inception, I found a number of posts I previously hadn't seen using the search term map. Again, more out of curiosity than anything else, I clicked onto a few to see what I could find. And, as it turns out, I was wrong. June 16th, 2009. Searching for a clean slate map. Someone out there must have saved a map that's completely flat. Yeah, I got a flatgrass map. Here. Thanks. Nearly 2 weeks before Puyo Dead posted his half-and-half map, another map was posted, this time a simple flatgrass world by a completely different user. Why didn't I find this on my first run-through? Well, for starters, it wasn't a post. It was a reply. On June 16th, the day of the forum's creation, a user named Krusty posted not a map, but a request for a map. Scroll a few replies down and we see it. User Hey5000, the same day, replies with a simple message and a Mediafire link. Based on the reactions of users replying and common sense, we can assume that, at one point, this link led to a download for the aforementioned flatgrass map. And, as this reply predates Puyo Dead's post by half a month and is the first mention of a map of any kind on the entire Minecraft forum, I can say with reasonable accuracy that Hey5000's flatgrass map is the oldest public mention of a Minecraft map on the entire internet. But not content to simply know it existed, I decided to roll the dice and click the download link, which unbelievably led me to the world down. Nah, I'm just kidding. It had probably been dead for like 8 years at that point. But I needed this map, so I looked around the thread for some clues. Unfortunately, every user on the thread had been inactive for years at minimum, including the original poster and Hey5000. Similarly, none of them had any identifying characteristics that would allow me to track them down elsewhere. But one of the users in the thread caught my eye. Miclee. Now, where had I heard that name before? I couldn't shake that weird feeling, so I looked him up, and it turns out this isn't the first time he's intersected with the fate of Minecraft's development. Miclee gained considerable fame in the early 2010s for being the original user to suggest pigmen, an idea that eventually evolved into a number of major game features. And looking back on his original message on the thread, we can see his statement. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Hey5000. implying that Miclee might just have downloaded the map on that fateful June evening. And unlike everyone else who replied to that post, Miclee had a Twitter. So I reached out to him in a similar vein to Puyo Dead, requesting information about this progenitor map while expecting a similar degree of non-response. But to my surprise, Miclee sent a message back just one day later. After beating around the bush for a little while, I asked the burning question. Had Miclee downloaded Hey 5000's Flatgrass map or any other equally ancient maps, and did he have them sitting around somewhere? Well, shit. As it turned out, although Miclee was still active, he didn't seem to have held on to any maps from the old days of the game. And so, with little else to do, I bid him good luck and resolved to search elsewhere. As I did this though, I started to realize something. Miclee not retaining any of these old maps wasn't a singular or one-off occurrence. Rather, it was a symptom of a much bigger and significantly more unusual trend across the Minecraft community. Minecraft custom maps just don't seem to last. Now, let's talk about that. Why are Minecraft's player-created maps so easily forgotten? Well, there's a number of small factors that can reasonably explain this deficit. For one, Minecraft maps, particularly large and old ones, can take up a decent amount of space on someone's drive. A player with no significant attachment to their worlds, or someone seeing no real reason to maintain them, might simply clear them out to make space for new things. I've always tried my best to avoid losing data of any kind, but even I've misplaced a few worlds in the years since I started playing the game. As for maps hosted online, the simple fact is that links die, domains expire, and internet users often recede from the internet as the years and months go by. As a result, the older something on the internet is, the less likely it is you're gonna get your hands on it. As we've clearly seen, Minecraft maps are no exception to this rule. Compounding this is the fact that, well, to put it simply, players very often just don't think their maps are important. I can't imagine Hey 5000 thought very much of his Flatgrass map when he made it back in 2009. After all, he had no way of knowing that one day it'd become an important piece of the puzzle that is Minecraft's history. It's impossible to know just how many worlds have been lost simply because players thought they didn't really matter. But complicating things further is another factor, one you might not know as well as the others. You see, some of the difficulties in bringing an ancient map to the modern era lie in the faults of Minecraft itself. Despite the menagerie of preserved versions and documentation, Minecraft wasn't exactly designed for backwards compatibility. The further back you go in the game's development, the more it distances itself from the game we know today, both aesthetically and functionally. Specifically relevant to our current dilemma is the fact that Minecraft's world save format, the method through which the game stores information about worlds, has changed several times over the past decade, and each change has been surprisingly dramatic. With almost every major development period, Minecraft's world save format has changed to such a degree that instances of the game simply cannot recognize world files from other development periods without careful conversion. In some cases, like the boundary between the InDev MC level format and the alpha region file format, transitioning becomes virtually impossible. There even exists some versions of the game where world files can't be legitimately saved or loaded without tampering or third-party software, and many older worlds are simply stuck in this state of frozen time, unable to be brought forward into modern versions due to technical limitations. All in all, even if a world file survives the winds of time, the threat of deletion, and the ongoing entropy of the World Wide Web, it still might end up being unplayable if you don't use the right techniques. A sad state of affairs, but one that seems to explain why so many of these historical maps are nowhere to be found. But I'll be honest, it's not all that bad. Let's flash back about 10 months. It's been around a half a year since I uploaded my original maps video, and the video's receiving minimal attention. But one day, out of the blue, I get a comment from a user named Just Another YouTube channel. I'm the creator of the largest map archive I know of, focusing mostly on beta and alpha, and including many maps even older than that. Needless to say, I was interested. JAYC provided a link to his archive, and I quickly looked through it. And as far as I can tell, he was right. JAYC's Minecraft map archive contained over 400 maps, spanning wildly across versions and ranging from legendary to downright obscure. Some maps I recognized, others were completely unfamiliar, and something I found particularly interesting was the abundance of classic, in-dev, and inf-dev maps, something I had experienced significant trouble in acquiring up until that point. According to JAYC, almost all of the maps were just shared between friends. Some were posted on public servers so others could play them, and others were shared on forums. This was, for all intents and purposes, an old-school map jackpot, and you could spend weeks playing through and exploring all of the 400-plus worlds throughout the archive. But what I found particularly interesting was the fact that, to the best of my knowledge, JAYC's was not just one of the largest, but one of the only Minecraft map repositories in existence. It seems like, with a few minor exceptions, players just don't think to preserve these old maps in any capacity. Exploring these maps is like stepping back in time, retracing the steps of known and unknown players that inhabited them many years ago. From an anthropological standpoint, it's an amazingly enlightening first-person view into the changes that time has brought, and the things that no longer are. And yet, JAYC's archive stands relatively alone. In conclusion, it's certainly interesting, if not a little sad, that so many of Minecraft's notable and not so notable maps have simply been abandoned or forgotten over the past 12 years. It can be attributed to a number of factors, but it's easy to forget that, in many cases, these maps contain memories, experiences, and history. Some have even had their own roles in the evolution and development of the culture and community surrounding Minecraft itself. And now we might never see some of them again. But it really doesn't have to be this way. Check your old save folders, forum threads, Planet Minecraft posts, and dusty hard drives. Look for worlds and custom maps that you might not have thought twice about when you found them back in the day. And hold on to them, share them, aggregate them into archives like JAYC's. Because to someone, someday, maybe even today, those maps might just be something really important. You know, if I'm being honest, Hey 5000's Flatgrass map probably isn't the first map at all. The real first custom map was probably shared on a long-deleted forum thread, then placed onto a forgotten hard drive somewhere by someone who doesn't remember it anymore. But maybe someday we'll see it. And honestly, it'll probably be a little underwhelming, but it'll still be an integral piece in the puzzle that is Minecraft's rich history. So, take care of yourselves, guys. And while you're at it, take care of your maps too. Thanks for watching.